so happy to be here with my friends at Fishman for another brand new episode of our super fun guitar learning live stream. It's a blast. So those of you who have been here before, you know that we go through a song live, no edits. It's a live Q&A too, so if you guys have questions about the gear that I'm using or anything that we're going through in the song, be sure to put it in the comments. Today's episode, however, is pre-recorded, but don't worry, we're still gonna have a lot of fun here. It's still a live Q&A. So put those questions in the comments, and when I am back, I'm gonna get to as many of those as I can. So be sure to put those comments in if you have questions. Now, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna learn, I think, one of the most legendary songs that has ever been written. We're gonna be learning On the Road Again by Willie Nelson. Such a fun song, really charming song, some very friendly chords here too, with a really cool little guitar solo in there as well. So, have your acoustic guitar in standard tuning. You know I like to ask a question every time we start these off. So let me know where you are tuning in from and your favorite road trip song. All right, so here we go. Here is On the Road Again by Willie Nelson. Such a fun and charming song. So let's go ahead and learn this thing. So we have an intro, we have a verse, we have a chorus, and we have the guitar solo. And again, as I always like to mention too, if you're enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It does help the cause. Click that like button. It helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff. And if you want to find out more about all the cool Fishman gear that I use in these lessons, including the Aura Spectrum DI little silver box I always talk about in these lessons, be sure to click the link in the video description. So let's go ahead and get started here with the intro of the tune. So what I want you to do is get this E chord into position. All right, so first finger, first fret of that G string or G sharp, second finger, second fret of the A string, that's our B note, and then your third finger on the second fret of the D string, which is E. You're gonna strum everything, making sure we're good to go, and we are, all right? So we want it to sound just like that. Now what I want you to do here for this intro is lift that second finger out of the way. We want the open A string. Then what we do with our second finger is we're gonna hammer on right back to that B note, second fret of the A string. Just like that, nice and simple. From there, we're gonna do a nice down, upstroke on that E chord. So that will sound like this. Okay, let's do that again. From there, what I want you to do is play the open E string and then give me another down, upstroke. So that sounds like this. When we put the two together, it's gonna sound like this, nice and slowly. So let's take our time. And for the tune, we're gonna go ahead and play that 4 times. All right, so let's go ahead, put a little bit more speed on that. Here we go from the top. It's a really good practice in getting our strumming hand nice and hyper-focused on strings and chords. So focusing on that little bass line that's happening within the guitar playing. So it's a really good song to really take a look at in that regard. So that's our intro, done, good to go. We do that 4 times, done. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go ahead and look at the verse. So I'm gonna play through one verse at speed, and it sounds like this. So again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chords in this verse. Let's go ahead and look at them. So we've got our E chord here, but this time notice how the strumming's a little bit different. I'm hitting the low E string by itself, downward, upward stroke. From there, hit the A string, that's our B note, or the 5. And then down, up stroke again, all right? So let's go ahead and do that here. And I'm gonna do some commentary, all right? And then we'll do a pass without it. So E string, A string, E, down, up, A string, down, up, E string, down, up, A string, down, up. If we're thinking in terms of notes, E, B, E, B, or 1, 5 note. 1 note, 5 note. Okay, so far so good. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments how everybody's doing. All right, so that's happening there on that E chord. Now we're going to go to an F sharp 7. Nice fun chord here. What we're going to do is we're going to get our first finger across the 4th fret of the E string, low E string, high E string, all 6 strings. Done. Okay? Want your 3rd finger here on the D sharp. Yes, it's called D sharp. Okay? 6th fret of the A string. We're going to get our 2nd finger here, 5th fret of that G string. Okay? So just like that. Now, what we're going to do here when we strum this chord, we're going to go to the G sharp, which is on the 4th fret of the E string. A nice down, up. Now, if you want to get all of the strings in there, great. If you find that sometimes I didn't strum all 6 strings, or maybe sometimes I only strummed, all the way to the B string or G string, know that that's fine too. So whatever works for you creatively, okay? So from there, G sharp, up, down stroke, then to that D sharp. We're playing that with our 3rd finger on the 6th fret of the A string. Then we're gonna hit that note, and then another down, up stroke, all right? So that's what's happening with the G sharp 7. Now, the next chord here is going to be an F sharp minor. We're going to keep this bar, okay, from the G sharp 7. We're going to move it back 1 fret, 2 frets. We're going to lift that 2nd finger out of the way, placing now our 4th finger on the 4th fret of that D string. So we have our F sharp here at the 2nd fret. We have our C sharp here at the 4th fret of the A string. And then we have another F sharp here at the 4th fret of the D string. Okay, we're going to strum everything. And notice here, see how I have my 2nd finger on top of my 1st finger? Sometimes I like to add a little bit more pressure to those chords that are a little close to the headstock. Sometimes those can be a little bit harder to press. So if you need that extra finger to press down, totally cool, all right? And again, same pattern here, F sharp, the E note, and then the A string, the C sharp. So just like that. Let's do that F sharp minor. All right, so just like that. So let's go ahead and hear those first 3 chords in context. Here we go. Back and forth, 1, 5, 1, 5, okay? From there, we're gonna do here is we're gonna do this 1 bar of the A chord. Now we're gonna do that. We're gonna A chord here, right? 2nd fret of the D, G, and B string, respectively, with our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers, all right? So we've got that there again, A major, A, C sharp, and E, those are the notes there. We're gonna strike the A string first, that open A string, down, up stroke to the E string, open. So in context, that A chord. Okay. From there, we're gonna go to a B7. So this chord, I like to think it sort of looks like a triangle, All right. So first finger here, placing that on the D sharp, the first fret of the D string. Second finger, second fret of the A string. That's our B note. Okay, that's our root. And then you're going to get your third finger here on the A note, second fret of the G string. Fourth finger, let's try and get that F sharp in there, second fret of the E string. So strumming from the A string downward, the chord should sound like this. Okay, so just like that. And how we are going to alternate between the 1 and the 5 is going to be this way. A string here, that second fret. Now move that second finger up to the F sharp, second fret of the E string, striking the F sharp. Then the rest of the chord. Okay, so just like that. Let's go ahead and do that one. This can be a little tricky. So let's take our time with this one, and then in context, we'll play the rest of the verse, and we're pretty much done. All right, so here we go. Just moving that second finger, keeping the other fingers where they are. Okay, that's not in the song, but needed a good transition into the verse. Okay, so the chords in order, we're going to have E, G sharp 7, F sharp minor, A, B7, back to E. So let's go ahead and now do this a few times. So here we go. A little slower than the recording. Let's get that alternating bass line with the chord, okay, together. So here we go. E, G sharp 7, F sharp minor, to A, B7, back to E. Let's do without the commentary. Here we go. So that's happening there in the verse. Now, let's go ahead and look at chorus. All right, so the chorus sounds like this. I'll go ahead and play it in context at speed. Okay, so 3 chords we already know. We're just going to play them in a little bit of a different order. So we're going to go to the A chord first. And again, same strumming pattern with the open A string, down, up, then the low E string. There's going to be 2 bars of this A chord, all right? So let's go ahead and do that A chord by itself. Now we're going to go to our E chord. Back to our A. Back to E. Now to our B7. We're going to give just a sharp stop, very abrupt stop at the end of that B7 chord. All right, so let's go ahead and do that without the commentary, and then we're going to go ahead and look at the very lovely and charming solo that comes after verse 3. So here we go. Like that. All right, so those are the parts. We have the intro, okay, the section, that's the intro, and then we have our verse, and we have our chorus. So those go back and forth. Now, in terms of the order of the song, we've got the intro, verse 1, verse 2, to a chorus, to verse 3, to the solo part, which are the verse chords, and then we have another chorus into verse 4, and then that little outro of an A and a B7 out, okay? So that's what's happening there. So as far as the bulk of the song and the chords, we've got it. Now, we're gonna do here, and I'm gonna play this slowly at first. We're gonna break this up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. This guitar solo, again, that's being played over the verse chords, all right? So I'm gonna play through it slowly. Very charming little solo. So we're going to break this up into parts. Now, what I want you to do here, keep in mind that that E string, for the most part, that high E is going to be droning through this. So it's all right if you hear it. It gives it that charm. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play, for the first part, open B and E string. We're not touching the fretboard at all. Okay. From there, open B string by itself. Just like that. Now what I want you to do here is I want you to get your second finger, place it on the 8th fret of that B string. And then you're going to slide it up to the 9th fret. Okay, so that's that G to a G sharp. So, and then you're going to play that G sharp note again, maintaining that open high E string. Let's do that again. Now, that's part 1. So part 2 sounds like this. Okay, so what we're going to do here, 3rd finger, 9th fret, B string, or that G sharp and that E. Okay. We're going to go back to the 8th fret, then back to the 9th. From there, just a little bend, like a half bend. And then you're going to bring it down, bending that 9th fret of the B string ever so slightly. So in context, okay, and then you're going to bring it back down to true. Okay, that G sharp. Let's do that again. Cool, isn't it? Especially with the high E string. It's pretty neat. From there, once we bring it back to true, that G sharp, we have that little bit there. So bring your first finger to the 7th fret, rather, of that B string, hammering on. So, right, we've got that F sharp to G sharp there. So it's a hammer on and then a pull off from F sharp to G sharp, hammer on, G sharp to F sharp, pull off. And then we are going to resolve here on that E note 9th fret of the G string. Just like that. Okay, so from there, okay, let's go ahead and start at the top of the 2nd part. So here we go. Just like that. From there, we're going to go back to the 7th fret of that B string. And we're going to strike that G sharp there in the 9th fret of the B string. We're going to do that 3 times. So, combining parts 1 and parts 2, here we go. Good stuff, right? Let's do it a little bit faster. And again, Willie has such a touch when it comes to vibrato. So like, really throw that in there if you'd like. I love watching him play with vibrato. I think it is just so cool. So we've got now in part 3 is a repetition of what we just did. So that part we've already done. So again. So now, let's combine where we are so far from the top. Okay, now let's look at the next bit. The next bit sounds like this. Okay, and I'll do that again here. So what we've got here, we've got the 9th fret of that B string with that high E. You're gonna slide back to the 6th fret now of that B string. And it's a little dissonant, right? We so want to go to that E note, but we're not. We've got that F note there. And then that F sharp. So getting that first finger on the 6th fret of the B string, that's our F note with E, dissonant. Then we're getting a little bit closer, right, with that F sharp 7th fret. And we're gonna do that twice. So we've got this. Okay. So, context, let me play through it from the top. See what I mean? Once you play it a little faster, you see it start to come together, right? So from there, what we're gonna do there, 7th fret of that B string to the 9th fret. Remember, keeping that E string open. We're gonna slide into that 10th fret of the B string, which is our A note. So we slide in, then we give that A note 3 more strikes. Okay, so from the top here, now we're going to do a nice little trill from that 10th fret of the B string, the A, to that G sharp. All right, so those notes. To the 7th fret of that B string, playing that twice. Now sliding that back to the 4th fret of that B string. And then sliding it up to E, 5th fret. So that D sharp to E. All right, so let's go through this part nice and slowly, okay? So from the 9th fret of the B string, again, a little vibrato when you can get it in there. So let's go ahead and go through the whole thing nice and slowly. Here we go. Good stuff, right? So that's what's happening there. Let's go ahead and do that again. right? Now, in context, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do an intro. Let's do one verse, let's do one chorus, and then we'll end with a solo. All right, and again, if you're enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps the cause. You want to check out all the cool stuff that Fishman is up to, click the link in the video description. And I've got a new online merch store. So if you want to buy some merch, I will put the link in the video description too, and in the comments. We ship worldwide, folks. Get yourself some AP merch. It's good stuff. So here we go from the very, very top. Intro. Verse. Now to a chorus. Now let's do a chorus. Or another verse, why not? Verse. So now our solo is being played over those verse chords. So here we go. Let's take our time. And repeat it. There we have it. That's the tune. Such a fun, charming song to play. Really, really great. Very beginner-friendly chords, too. Some of those bar chords, don't worry, folks, if you're, you know, slowly getting better at them. As I say in a lot of these lessons with bar chords, placing that thumb in the middle of the neck, see how you can't see my thumb at all? Creates a good foundation when you're building those chords. The second you get your thumb up here, right, and kind of shrink the hand. So we want to make sure we give our fingers the best chance in creating a really, really strong connection with the fretboard and the strings and getting really, really nice, clear notes. So stuff to think about when you are playing. So yeah, it is always such an honor to do these. I want to thank my friends at Fishman for helping me run these lessons week after week. They are such a blast, and these lessons wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you all so much. Again, if you want to support, I've got a new EP out called The Voices. You can go and check it out on Bandcamp and Spotify and everywhere you stream music. Also, too, if you want to get some cool Petrilli merch, visit my website, AngelaPetrillimusic.com. You can get them there. Also, too, folks, I will be in Nashville, Tennessee next week playing some shows. So if you're in town, we would absolutely love to see you. We're going to be playing some shows again. All the tour dates and tickets are on my website at AngelaPetrillimusic.com. Again, thank you all so much. These lessons wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you guys. So thanks for being here week after week and telling your friends. And it's just such a blast to break these down. So again, everyone have a fantastic week as always. Wishing you so much success in your musical journey. And folks,